Let's move on to topic two. Let's talk about DC films. I don't know why I wanted to talk about this one. So, obviously, the DC universe, cinematic universe, what was it, DCEU? The extended universe is what they were calling it. Seen a bit of a rocky path as it's been going along. From, your Superman Returns to your Wonder Woman to Batman versus Superman to Justice League to the Suicide Squads, both of them, to the Flash, which just came out, and then Shazam and Black Adam. Like, it's been kind of all over the place, and some mixed reactions. Some were good, some were not so good. Some people hated. And obviously it draws a lot of comparisons to MCU, what Marvel's done with their 28 plus movies since starting with Iron Man. And it just made me think of like, okay, what could they do to be more successful? And this is very like obviously opinion based, duh. But like there's no one right answer, I feel, and it's going to be one of those things like time will tell. But right now they're going through this big reboot process with James Gunn coming in and Warner Brothers kind of restructuring like what we're going to do with these films, as they weren't getting the return that they kind of wanted in terms of viewership and money, and I guess critical response. So it seems like they're doing a reboot going forward, and they've talked about it. And I'm curious to think about like what is the correct route that they should take. And by correct, what is the successful route that they should take with these movies that might be more helpful than this past iteration? So we've talked about it in the past, like the past iteration, what we thought was good, what we thought was bad, and the troubles that were at hand. And everybody's going to do it. Marvel vs. DC, compare them, right? Superhero versus superhero, how are they telling the stories, whatever. And I think that was a problem that the DC movies kind of fell into immediately. And I know that's not fair of us to do, but it's one of those general things that just kind of happens. We wanted the DC movies to be what the Marvel movies were, right? Big universe, big setups into these ultimate and climactic battles like Avengers 2, like Endgame, Civil War, whatever it may be. We wanted those, and I think the DC movies wanted that as well, as we kind of saw them playing catch up and playing catch up fast. And I think that's kind of what hurt them in the end with this first run, is they were trying to do too much too fast. And I think the biggest example of that is Batman versus Superman and Justice League, where Batman versus Superman all in all is okay, but they tried to shove a lot into that movie when it didn't need to be there. And Justice League, I think I'll lean a little bit more on this example, was the epitome of that, where you had established Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. And then in Justice League, you tried to also then cram in Flash and Cyborg on top of that, along with a villain that hadn't really been established all that much. Then you try and fix that by releasing the Snyder Cut over on HBO. And that thing was, 4 hours? And that was almost like too much of... Well, we're talking about too much and too little. That was definitely too much in 4 hours, which seems weird, but like they went further into the backstory of Cyborg, which was good. A little bit more into Flash. Then you got Darkseid, a whole nother character that was like hinted at in Justice League, but wasn't talked about. And then you got Martian Manhunter randomly popping up, and it's like, I see what you're trying to do, but it was almost nothing got explained enough in 4 hours, which doesn't make any sense because, like, 4 hours is a lot of time. And for some reason, like, they just threw everything at the wall and nothing got the time it deserved. Like, I think Steppenwolf in the extended cut, way more interesting than the original cut. I think that was good in terms of giving him character growth, something he was chasing after, making him feel like a threat instead of just, here's random big monster of the day, here you go. And, you know, you don't want to do it carbon copy of Marvel's movies, right? Where you had Iron Man, you had Hulk, you had Thor and Cap. You had their origin movies leading into Avengers. Like, you could do that. Obviously, we've seen the success of that because it's those building blocks before the big one. Not a bad step, but also you get the criticism of like, oh, you're just doing exactly what they're doing. So I can see why they're doing it different. I feel like I'm talking in circles right now. I'm so sorry. But I feel like that approach at least would have benefited what they were trying to do in the long term. Which, granted, they did a little bit. You got your Superman, you got your Wonder Woman. Batman's a tricky one because we've done like a bunch of different Batmans. So the Ben Affleck Batman was new in terms of Batman v Superman, right? That was his debut. So there was that. And then throwing in other ones, fine. Just, I think they were trying to do too much with them, excuse me, in too little time. So with this reboot, I don't know exactly what I'm hoping for. I want to say I'm hoping for more of a Marvel approach where, like, okay, it's twofold. If you want to do this big connective big collective story, universe, whatever, I think I would prefer, and granted, I know, because they literally just said, oh, Marvel did it, and it worked. I feel that works of, like, block, or stepping stones into big movie, right? I think you go that one and just be like, yeah, it worked. Why? If it's not broke, don't fix it. You do that. Or we go the other route, which is risky, but I could see where it works. We're just do everything separate. Don't worry about crossover. Don't worry about connective tissue. Don't worry about anything. Make Superman movies and just make them good Superman movies. Make Wonder Woman movies and just make them good Wonder Woman movies. Make Batman movies, make them good Batman movies. Like, keep everything separate. And I could get the criticism there of like doing that because we had that in the past run of DC films. Like, you had your Shazam separate until the end. Shazam was very good. I didn't watch Shazam 2, so I can't phone in on that one. Black Adam. I know the production for Black Adam was a whole thing. Not bad. And I liked you had these other characters, but like it didn't feel like we gotta explain what this character is and blah. Like, it was just like, nope, we're here. So Black Adam, not that bad. And then you had Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 1, good. Wonder Woman 2, not so good. And then you had the Suicide Squads, which most of us, Suicide Squad 1, yeah. Suicide Squad 2, better, but not super great. You know, like, it's tough. It's tough if you do that too because of the past success failure rate of that. So I don't know if that's the best route either. What they seem to be doing, as far as I know, is it's going to be this connective tissue thing again. Which, fine. You need a plan and you need to work on it and let it flesh out. Don't do the everything at once. We need to play catch up Hail Mary like we did in the past iteration, where it's too much in one time, as we discussed. I'm scared already for the first Superman movie that we have announced. I think it's Superman Legacy. Please correct me if I'm wrong with that. But you got Superman, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, one or two other characters in there. It is Legacy. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. I'm just scared. I don't need a Superman origin movie. We got that with Returns. From what I remember with Returns, it was good. It wasn't great because I don't remember a lot of it. I remember the very ending and thinking, well, that was dumb. But like, you're throwing a lot. It's the same situation. Taking a lot, throwing it at the wall, and hoping it hits. Granted, you go the Black Adam route, and where I was like, oh yeah, Hawkman's cool, Dr. Fate's cool, Adam's cool, like most of them worked type of thing. It's rough. I'll agree. Jeff in chat bringing up James Gunn. He's really good at balancing multiple characters once in a story. I agree. And that's where I think, okay, this is good. You have a figurehead that, like a Feige, that can plan this out. And yes, Gunn has shown with his track record of Guardians 1 through 3, and I'm sure other movies, but obviously those are the ones that stick in my head, of like multiple characters, multiple arcs, what they're telling with those characters. Maybe not everybody got the shining light in every movie, but at some point they did. He's got a good track record with those, so hopefully going forward, yeah, DC, this was a good pickup for DC. Now the question comes into play, because The Batman, very good. I know it was a long movie, very good. You're continuing that. What about all the other stuff? Like, is it just going to be another Batman? Are we not going to include Batman in this? Just keep him his own separate track path? Like, does it get confusing for people as I sink down into my chair? Oof. Like, do you just wipe the board completely? Like, yeah, bye Zachary Levi. Yeah, bye Dwayne. I think he was already gone. Yeah, bye Gal Gadot. Like, everything clean slate, and then Robert Pattinson's just over here being Batman, and then everything else is new? I think that's the case. But that's rough. Oof. I don't know. Let's see. DC was like, oh, we see how to build this. We can skip the actual slow building after watching Marvel. It's like watching someone try to build build a shelf who only watched a YouTube channel without looking at proper tools and stuff. Exactly. Like, I get it of the catch up. Like, oh crap, we're behind. But yeah, it didn't pay off. It didn't work. And it's unfortunate because, like, it's an exciting prospect, right? The Avengers movie, the Justice League movie. We are seeing this big team-up movie in like a new cinema field. That's awesome. And unfortunately, it just wasn't as awesome as we thought and just kind of, like, let us down. I don't know. It's weird. So, there's a lot up in the air. And like I said, I'm just another guy on the internet ranting and raving about this. It's rough. I don't know from a fan perspective what I want, because, like, there are DC stories that I really enjoy. I really enjoy Batman stuff, Arkham games, the Lego Batman games, the animated stuff, like, that's all good. Animated Justice League from back in the day was great. I know people talk a lot about Young Justice now. I haven't watched that. I know. Injustice storyline's fantastic. Like, there are DC stories and DC characters that I really enjoy, but I'm trying to think of, like, what is going to get my butt in seats at the theater. Like, I didn't go see Shazam 2. I didn't go see The Flash. I didn't go see Black Adam in the theaters. Like, I tried excuse me. I tried Batman vs. Superman. Yeah. Tried the original Suicide Squad. Nope. Tried Justice League. Meh. Wonder Woman 1. Liked it. Wonder Woman 2. Nope. Aquaman. Nope. And then Shazam. Yay. I think Shazam was the last one I saw in theaters. So, like, what can they do to get me, maybe a more casual DC fan, in there? I don't know. I don't know if it's just more of, like, I guess what I said earlier, I prefer the building block method. I think that's what I want. If you're going to do something connective tissue, it's got to be interesting and it's got to be building block. But it's an uphill battle right now where there's a lot of sour taste, I think, in people's mouths. And they got to build that back up. And that might be rough. It might be rough. I don't know what could push past that in, like, yeah, I definitely need to go see that movie type of thing. Like, I thought The Flash would be that for me, but I think outside factors of Ezra's stuff played into that. Granted, I know that's not the studio's part. The studio's part was delaying that thing for 4 years or whatever it was. That was probably the icky in my taste from their perspective. But, like, the Ezra stuff and them going through their issues, like, that from me was like, oh, I don't really care for that. But, like, everything before that stuff came out was interesting. You get Keaton as Batman again. You get these cameos. You get this time travel story narrative. Like, that's interesting in a solo movie, and I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, unfortunately, the real life stuff and then the delays were just like, I don't know. And granted, maybe I'll watch it. I do want to watch it. It's just like, it wasn't enough of a driving force to go out to the movie theater, to buy a ticket, blah, blah, blah. But once it comes to Max, yeah, I'm going to give it a try, and I might like it. Like, I hear there's a lot of cameos in it. Luckily, haven't been spoiled on much or anything. So, like, I'm excited to see that, but it was the division of, like, yeah, these things are here. It's not going to push me to go out to that point, which I think is their biggest draws, like the movie ticket sales, not necessarily anything that comes after, obviously, the streaming stuff. So it's like, yeah. It's about making characters relatable and interesting, says Jeff. Did anyone really care about Peacemaker until Gunn put him in Suicide Squad in a show, and now he's somehow in Mortal Kombat? Exactly. Like, I had no idea about Peacemaker. He was a great part in Suicide Squad 2. I haven't watched the series yet, so I can't vouch for that. But yeah, like, that's a character that blew up. That's 100% right. Like, that's something that has been done well. And I feel like Shazam is another one. Like, obviously not to the scale of Peacemaker, at least in terms of, like, permeating these other mediums or media. But, like, that's a win. Like, the Batman series or movies so far, I think, have all been pretty much hits. Like, yeah, there was definitely lower points. Like, Clooney's Batman was a low point. And even though I love Batman Forever, most people put that lower on their rankings. Obviously the Bale Batmans were great. The Pattinson one, like, as far as I know, people really liked it. Once again, it was long. If that was a complaint of yours, totally fair. Totally get that. I don't know. It's a very, very weird of, like, thinking of what they could do. And granted, I'm not responsible for any of these decisions, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, Batman movies will always sell well because he has good villains. And actually nailing a good Batman is incredibly difficult. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the villains are definitely... That is true. Like, why I enjoy Batman a lot? Yeah, because of who's going against him. Like, you're right. He's got a great rogues gallery of villains. Like, obviously you got Joker's the standout. But then you got Riddler, who I really like. You got Harley Quinn. You got Bane. You have Ra's al Ghul. You have, Penguin. You have Two-Face, if you want to get really in the, and it's a deep library too. Like, Mad Hatter's in there, and fucking the guy who cuts himself. Like, I only know a lot of this from the Arkham games too, but, like, yeah, he's got a lot of people that are cool. Scarecrow, another great one. Like, Zaz, thank you. Like, yeah, he's got interesting ones. Like, who does Superman have? Oh, well, Zod, another dude from Krypton. He's got Doomsday, a big, scary monster. He's got Darkseid, which also, as far as I only know, big, scary monster. Like, Wonder Woman's got Cheetah, which I was stoked when they put Cheetah in too. And then I was like, okay. Ares, magical dude. Aquaman has anti-Aquaman. You know, man in scuba suit. I mean, Black Manta wasn't that bad, but there's that. Shazam and Black Adam are opposites. Yeah, that's fair. It's like the villains, you know, are a drawing force there. I don't know. I read the Supergirl arc of Batman Superman as an amazing Batman Darkseid moment. Ooh, cool. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and granted, it could just be me of like, yeah, I'm into DC, but I don't know as much of the DC lore as I do the Marvel lore, and like, oh, that's why you're not going to be interested in these. They have to find some way to permeate me as a comic book fan in terms of like things going on, not reading the issues week to week, but permeate me enough, or not permeate, inspire me enough to go out to the movies, and then do that with the general audience too, of like, do that. Like, okay, Blue Beetle, cool character. Who's going to see that in the general audience? Just, I don't know. I don't know how many people are going to give that a chance. And that's not fair to me, just be like, poo-poo it immediately. It's just a question in my head. Like, I hope that movie does well. It looks good. I think the actor portraying him is doing a great job. I'm appreciating that they're giving the character a chance, even though this universe is going to restart, so it doesn't even matter. I don't know. Like, is that a strong enough character or intriguing enough to a general audience that's going to be like, oh yeah, got more popular after the Young Justice animated series? Yeah, like Blue Beetle's another one that I feel like has popped up more and more recently than ever. Like, yeah, Young Justice, he was in Injustice 2. I think that was the first time I had ever seen him, but we'll see. Time will tell. But yeah, I just wanted to go on that rant. DC films, they're restarting. They're doing their thing. Hope they could figure out what they want and, you know, be successful with it. Because these are great characters with great stories. It's just a matter of finding that new way to tell them, I guess, and hopefully expand. And there's a lot of things they're playing against. We didn't even talk about superhero movie fatigue. Like, is it too little, too late? Who knows? But before I keep rambling and saying the whole same things over and over again, this has been another episode of the Wait What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. Usually live over there. You can drop us, Jesus Christ, butchered. You can drop a follow over there. Let you know when we go live. You'll get notified. You can join on the fun and the chaos like Jeff Rainbow Mrs. G did today. Join the fun and the chaos and conversation over there if you'd like. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support the show, likes, subscriptions, reviews, shares, whatever it is. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow. So if you do that, take the time to do it. I would appreciate you for it. And, yeah, be great. Thanks for giving this a watch, giving it a listen. Appreciate your time. Sorry for the absence. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.